Good morning, everyone. Maybe we can take a minute and introduce ourselves in the chat and tell us where you are watching us from. Um, and maybe you can share something little about
Good morning, everyone.
in the chat. Awesome. So thank you all for joining us. Mamu, you're not late. Welcome. My name is Brighton Masaru, and I'm going to take you through this session, Introduction to Online Safety. And if you have questions, please ask them in the comment section. Any question is welcome. And I hope you're staying safe wherever you are, you and your whole family. Awesome. So our session is all about online safety. Our main objective is to help parents navigate this online world, the internet space, safely for your whole family. So the main goal is to support parents with keeping their families safe online. And we're going to introduce some tools that we encourage you as parents to use with your families. So there are a number of challenges that parents face with the digital world right now. Modern kids have never known a time where they couldn't use the internet. Some kids were brought up in a world where the internet is there, the phone is always there. They always some have access to laptops, some when they go to school have access to computers, and most of them spend a lot of their time online, and there's a lot of uncertainty online. So we'll dive into how we can work towards understanding this landscape. Technology is growing rapidly. Every single day, there are different changes, new technologies are being introduced into the world. For example, now there's some technologies that are not there 5 years ago. Things like TikTok is all over. And this is something that parents need to be able to understand, grapple with. For example, 48 to 60%, 6% of the sub-Saharan African population are already online. So the sub-Saharan African population, around 48 to 46 to 66% already have internet connectivity. So this is through their phones, this is through their laptops, their computers, their tablets, at home or at work. So for parents, most of us, it took us very long before we were able to get online. For kids, now internet is becoming a part of their life. Growing up, they already have access to unlimited internet. And the one thing is, even as parents, we will agree that kids are very fast at adopting new technologies. They're very fast, chap. We don't need to explain a lot to them, give them a device, then they'll be able to navigate their way through it. So kids are between the age of 15 to 24 are using the internet. Like 71% of internet use is for among children between the age of 15 to 24, compared to the whole population using the internet, which is around 48%. So 48% of the world is using internet, and out of this 48%, 71% is being used by young people. So the internet is becoming more and more prevalent in our daily lives. We use for different things, news, for work, all that. So things are moving up very quick in our very connected world. So maybe we can we can do a small exercise. Maybe we can, in the comment section, we can answer this question: what do your children actually do online? So maybe we can get answers through the comments. For most parents feel they know what the kids are doing online, but the teens do not think you know what's happening online. So what do you think our children are doing online, on their phones, on their laptops? Good morning, those who are joining us. We have not moved very far. We just got started, and we are trying to understand what are children doing online. So we have Zakaria saying they're watching movies. Mamu says they're watching cartoons. Anthony says um, they're funny. They're funny videos on YouTube. So we have movies, we have cartoons, we have funny videos. So we have gaming, we have downloading. Fenny is saying studenting. So I'm assuming he's meaning learning stuff online. Yeah. So these are the many different things that the kids are doing online. And as a parent, do you feel that you have control on what they're doing on the internet? And how do you monitor what they're doing on the internet? So maybe we can get responses in the comment section. Do you feel that you have a complete handle of what the kids are doing online? And what strategies have you put in place to monitor what they're doing in the different devices? So we have TikTok. It's very common. Zakaria says, honestly, no. Hmm? It's hard to monitor unless you are with them watching 24/7. Fanny is saying no. Which is okay. We understand. It can be difficult to have a handle on these things. Um, okay, so we can look at examples of what they might be doing online. Mhm. So here we have a study that says 64% what they do is the chat online with their friends. We have 52% research shows that 52% are watching video clips, 53% play online games against friends and strangers. Yes, Nancy says no, because of our busy work schedules. Yes, that's very understandable. So these are examples of how technology has become very fundamental part of the kids' lives. Your children need to understand these same principles apply online. So we have seen an example where 53% of kids are playing online games against friends and strangers. As a parent, I think the word stranger can be very scary. And I know some of our parents, some parents, what they do is they limit access to technology. For example, some might take the devices away from them. That's one way you've seen most parents do to limit control. But we can see that there's a lot of chatting, there's a lot of watching video clips, and there's a lot of playing online games with friends and strangers. Although there's a tendency to limit access to technology, the kids are still doing what they're doing. So for let's take one minute and answer this question. What are the biggest concerns you face in keeping your children safe online? What are some of the concerns you face in keeping your children safe online? Do our children resist us taking away, for example, their devices? Do they throw tantrums, make out of noise? Do they start saying you're a bad parent? Nancy says video pop-ups is her biggest challenge. Maybe Nancy, you can explain further. Do these pop-ups emerge on different apps or some specific apps? Joan says, I think kids are smarter and figure out stuff more than parents. Mhm. So it means there's a challenge of keeping up with the kids. They're clickbaits that might lead them astray. The many strangers. So clickbait is one thing that's a big challenge.
Explicit ads huge concern also. Awesome. So that's very good. You're not alone. If you're facing these challenges, um, there's need to be more involved and engaged and educated on how to keep our parents safe online. Um, not alone. Many more parents share the same worries. So these are sentiments from different parents. Parent is saying, "My children are more tech savvy than me. Safety is paramount. I'm concerned with what they get up to when I'm not monitoring them." Other parents said, "This is the era of technology. Kids don't play outside anymore. Uh, People can pretend to be anyone online. I don't want them." Other parents said, "I don't want them to stumble across things they shouldn't be stumbling across." Fiona is joining us. Welcome, Fiona. Good morning. So, with these many concerns, this session will offer some tips on how to positively approach these. But the internet is a vast place, right? And while most parents may approach these concerns by restricting or limiting access to the internet, um, it may be not it may not be the best approach, as you might not have positive response from your children. So parents always forget there's the positive side to tech and technology, and they should embrace and reinforce that with our children. We want to embrace the opportunities available for the kids out there to use technology. For example, you can get access to a whole um, huge set of wealth of information for learning or for homework. There are also lots of interactive tools, games that can aid learning, um, some of which can be done with parents collaboratively. Um, the ways to find opportunities for work, from starting, you can start a blog, to follow your favorite artist on Instagram. The internet can be a tool for young aspiring creatives to get started. And our kids are very creative. However, the internet remains a complex place which was not built intentionally for children, and it's not as regulated as other uh, children's services. For example, we can see technology is a good force For example, we see that 76% use the internet for their homework and research. 45% research work and study opportunities online. 3% created and uploaded their own music. Right? So this is a study in sub-Saharan Africa for children between the age of 9 to 17 in the year between 2016 and 2017. So what you're going to do is you're going to set some digital grounds for the family. We're going to discover and manage family-friendly content, protect your children online through this session. So the main objective is to educate on how to safeguard your family online, demonstrate tools that protect family members and accounts, provide talking points for discussions with your family about online behavior. So how do we set the ground rules for how to use digital technology in our families? Every family is different. Therefore, limitations, restrictions, and guidelines you want for your family to live their digital lives should be up to each and every individual family. So it's for you, the parents, to come up with their uh, ground rules based on how your family is set up, based on how your family, you're the best person to know how your family is. Um, Setting ground rules can help you enjoy the best of the internet while understanding that there is a limit where the good of the internet can become a negative impact if abused and overused. So these are things that we as parents should understand. Is not all rules of that I might say might apply to your family. So you as an individual family, you need to come up with your own rules on how to use the digital tools in our homes. So what kind of rules do you currently have for your family? Maybe we can get some responses. How do you? What rules do you have at your homes for keeping your families safe? Or if you don't have any rules, that's okay. We're going to go through them today. So, for example, how are there rules on how to access TV? For example, people watch TV while having dinner or having supper at home. Um, for how long do you allow your kids to watch TV, to use devices like you give them your phone uh, for the whole day, for example? How important do you think these rules are? Um, a curfew for using the internet, for using the internet devices. That's one strategy. Mhm. So by curfew, what do you mean by curfew? How long is the curfew? Fiona says she has to be familiar with the content the kids are exposing themselves with too. Mhm. Locking some apps and limiting screen time is one strategy. Um, Fiona says must be around to guide the kids with online programs. That's very important. Uh-huh. So use the internet only for learning. That's a very good strategy. Good morning, Paula Kwabi. Welcome. Here are some options for some ground rules. For example, you can establish boundaries around screen time that has been mentioned. You can create family rules about what to share. So this is online. What is being shared? What does your kid put out there? Um, Establish family values online. Um, Online is not different from the physical world. So you have to establish family values there also. Yona says, make an awareness to kids on the effects of online use. Yes, especially if online is used for other things other than learning. That's good. So some options here you've looked at is establishing a boundary around screen time. So screen time is how much time does the child spend online. Creating family rules about what's to be shared. What does does your children put out into the internet? Establishing family values online. So screen time is something very important. Um, it's very important. Um, So how do you currently approach screen time with the children? So you've seen curfews, implementing curfews on the devices. You as a parent yourself, are you good with screen time? Do you limit your time on the screens as a parent? What are the the positive effects of screen time? What are the and the other downsides? So, for example, me, I have challenge with screen time, especially when it comes to social media. So, as a parent, how good are you with screen time? Uh, so, the balancing of the positives of balancing screen time is for a kid, they're able to finish up their schoolwork. For children, they're able to connect with friends and family at home. So if you're not able to balance your screen time, there are challenges like sleep. Some of us cannot sleep at night uh, because of using the mobile phone for a very long time. And then you also end up spending less time with others outdoor. So we lose our human connection. As children, as parents, we spend a lot of time online. We get to lose touch uh, with, the, with the other human beings, our family, our friends, our neighbors. It's very important to maintain this touch with them. So sleep cycles are usually affected by blue light from screens, tricking our brain into thinking it's still daylight, for example, making it very difficult for us to sleep. So there's an effect of the light coming from the screens that affect our bodies and our brains, and reducing our ability to sleep very well at night. So not all online activities are created equal. So you need to take time to assess how particular activities that your children is doing can help or hinder their ability to grow. You also need to look at what other kinds of activities do you like to limit your child's time on. What kind of activities would you like to see your children do more of? So these are things you need to think about. Do your children show a tendency towards any particular apps or programs? So we need to look at what are the apps or programs that your kids are usually spend a lot of time on. So that's very important to understand. So how much time your child should spend using their devices is up to you. But there are ways to help set limits when you yourself want to. And to be able to do this, Google has created an app, a tool to help us parents be able to manage our children's time online. This app is called Family Link. We're extra protective when it comes to family. So taking care of our youngest users by providing parents with the best support to help their children enjoy quality um, that parents feel good about is very important. So this is why Google came up with this app, created this app. So the app is available on Play Store. Um, it helps parents manage the kids' Google account. So we all know all Android phones must have a Google account to be able to use the phone. So with this tool, you'll be able to manage your child's Google account, um, Chromebooks, Android devices, so that you can be able to set digital grounds that work for your family. So this is an app that's available on the Play Store. So you can go into, you can look at this, you can install this app on your phone. It's free for use. So the app allows you to be able to do a number of things. As you said, you can create a Google account to your child. So if your child does not already have a Google account, using through this app, you can create a Google account for them so that you can be able to monitor this very easily. So you can create a Google account for your child and link it to your own account. So on your phone, you already have your own Google account. So when you install the app, it will ask you, does a kid already have a Google account? If no, you can create for them a Google account through this app, right? So now this app will be able to enable you to monitor that Google account very easily. So if they already have a Google account, you can enter that Google account, go to your phone, to your child's phone, and enter a code that the app, the Family Link app, will provide for you to enter, so that you can verify. You can connect that Google account on the child's phone to your phone through the app. So you simply download the Google Family Link, then give you some setup guides. You can sign in. You sign in with your account. Then you're able to create your child's account. For example, you can say you can give your child a name. For example, if your child is called Brighton Mosaru, you can check Brighton Mosaru at Gmail if it's available. You create that account for your child. So now once you have created the account for your child, now your child can go into their phone and sign into the Android device using that account that you have created. So it's very simple. It's the very simple prompts that will ask you. For example, the app will prompt you, the caretaker or the parent, to sign in using the email address and your password. The parent will be prompted to download the Family Link app for the parents on their own devices. Then you'll be able to activate this. So if you have a question, please, you can be able to ask in the comment section, and I'll be able to look at it. So maybe if I can go back. So we've said there's a tool called Family Link. So it's an app created by Google that helps you, a parent, be able to manage your children's access on their phones, on their Chromebooks. This app is available for free. The number of things you can do on the app that you look into. For example, you can look at, you can monitor your kids' activity. What app are they using most? Uh, you can restrict what they can and cannot do on the mobile phone. So this is a very good tool for them. Yes, this tool is it's new. Thank you for noting that. Most people do not know about this. That's why these sessions are very important, so that we can introduce these kinds of tools to us. So you said it's very easy. You download the app on your phone as a parent. You sign in with your Gmail account. Then there are a number of steps. One is easily create a Gmail account, a Google account for your child if your child does not already have one. If your child is already logged in on that device with their own Gmail account, you can connect your Gmail account to you can connect the Gmail account to yours using very simple instructions in the app. So if the Family Link app helps you manage your kids' screen time. You can set daily screen time limits. So you can say from this time to this time, the child should not be able to access this device. Like someone has said, it's a curfew. So Viona is asking, can this app be used in a classroom setup? Um, for this for a classroom setup, I believe we'll have to do it manually for each student because you need to be able, so you can create multiple accounts for the students in the class. And then if they have Chromebooks, they'll be able to log into the Chromebooks using that Google account, those Google accounts that you create. So I believe you can do that. Okay. Like you're saying, the Family Link apps helps you set up screen time. Someone has mentioned curfew, so you can think about this as curfew. You can be able to manage the apps your kids use. You can set up a device bedtime. You can say at 7 or at 8 it's bedtime, so no access to the phone should not be able to should not be accessible. You can set up app time limits. For example, you can say only use Facebook for maybe 1 hour in a day, for example. You can grant bonus screen time, right? If the child is behaving well, you can say, okay, I have some bonus. The other thing you can do is you can lock your child's device remotely, right? You can manage the device. You can hide specific apps whenever it's time for them to play, to study or sleep, for example, so that they're not able to see those apps. Uh, so with bedtime, you can set up a routine, bedtime routine, to lock your device, to lock the child's phone while they're asleep. When doing homework or during dinner time, you can lock the device immediately so that they focus on other activities. For example, if it's eating, if it's spending time with the family, if it's studying, right? You can lock up the device. So it's for you to decide the amount of time. You as a parent, you understand your parent very well. So it's up to you to be able to make good judgment on how much time should my child spend online. So I'm going to share a link for more information, for more details that you can look at. So I'm going to post this in the comment section. Yes, so the link will give you will show you the different things that you'll be able to do, and you can get a link on where you can download, how you can download the app. Fiona says thanks, especially now that we are having online lessons. This app can be very great. Yes, this can be very helpful in controlling the time. So you have talked about locking up the phone, setting up specific time breaks on the phone. So in the screenshot, you can see it's an example which you can lock. You can set up bedtime. Excuse me. You can set up bedtime. You can look at, let us see, for example, here is Benjamin. Benjamin has been locked until 7 a.m. So till 7 a.m. the following day is the only time he can be able to access, he can be able to access the phone. So how will you talk to your kids? How will you talk to kids about screen time? How do you explain to them that from this time to this time, you can't use the device. This time is homework. You lock the device. So how do we as parents explain this to our children? So how do you explain this to our children? So maybe we can hear some in the comment section. How do we talk to our kids? How do you explain? How do you tell them that you can't use the phone at this time? You can't use the phone for more than 2 hours in a day. How do we explain this to our children? Do we just use force? You say no, I've said no, and said no. Do we engage them? So the slides, the number of you can keep a positive attitude. You help them keep a positive attitude. How do you create that positive attitude? I'm gonna say is just be clear with them. This time for everything. Yes, that's very important when you're talking to them. Just be clear with them. There's a time for everything. That's very important for them to get, to understand. We are sorry, Wendy. You're saying your phone has a problem. It's good that you're catching up with us. That's very good. I'm sorry for the problems. We tell them to focus on other stuff other than the devices so as to develop themselves. Yes, it's very important to tell them that. Awesome. By telling them the effects of using the device, the gadgets, that's very, very important to make clear. So it's very important for children to know, prove other activities, provide other activities to keep them busy. Yes, um, it's difficult, especially for working moms, to monitor. Yes, that's very true. So it's very important for children to know and understand why that funding screen time balance is very important. So for that reason, we'll discuss here a number of suggestions or discussion points for talking about screen time with your children. Um, uh, for example, does technology ever prevent you from being present? For example, you can talk about how devices can sometimes cause people to miss out on things that matter to them. That's something you can discuss with the children. You can touch on times when uh, the child was not fully there for a particular moment because the child was either on their phone. You can ask your kids if they've ever observed others, like friends or family members, not fully present with the people around them. The other thing is you can look at is how the kids also experience a time when they were distracted from an important moment because of technology. The other thing is you can discuss is how did they feel about it afterward? Were they on a particular app or a game when it happened, and have they noticed a certain pattern in their own activity? So you can look at examples that, for example, you can look at examples where the children missed something because of they were on the app or on the phone. How do they feel about that? Have they seen their family members or friends who are always on the devices and are missing out um, on moments or they're missing out on activities that others are engaged in? Yes, Phyllis says it's important to explain to them that there's time for everything, time to learn, play, and device time. Yes, that's very true. The other discussion point you can look at is how does screen time affect focus and why does it matter, right? For example, you can ask, what are the times and places your family feels it's important to be focused on? Is it during homework, while spending time with another person, with another family member? You can talk about how to approach technology during these times when you want to keep your attention on a task, right? Um, you can reflect on what balance feels like, not only for kids but for the whole family, right? So you don't make it about the kids, but make it about the whole family, right? Then you can look at to apply that concept on the times and places throughout the whole day. So that concept of finding balance is important for everyone. So now the whole family is able to work on that together. right? You can allow your children to help you come up with a solution, right, on how to balance their own screen time. It's very important to also involve the kids in these kinds of discussions, right? So these are important discussion points that you can look at when you're making these kinds of discussions. You're having these kinds of discussions with the children at home. The other thing that the digital age has brought is the ease of sharing information online. Um, as we're able now to connect with friends and family through our mobile devices, through social media. However, this accessibility comes with consequences, right? Um, I'm sure you can think of negative consequences to the freedom of speech sharing online has given children, right? You can look at has there been invasion of privacy? Is there social comparison? Digital footprint? Are our children living digital footprints online? So we need to create rules around what is it that our family members can share online, right? Things like photos, private information are these things that we should let our family members, especially children, share online. So here are some discussion points on how to talk about sharing um, among our family members. You can teach them about their digital footprint, for example, right? Together with your child, you can do an online search of yourself as a parent, right? Or a musician that they love. You can show them what is it that they can see online about an individual. Then they're able to understand the concept of a digital footprint that they live online. Help minimize social comparison. Make sure that your child knows that what friends share online is just one part of the whole story. And it's usually highlights, right? It's not the whole life, it's small parts of the whole story. Remember them, remind them that everyone, right? Everyone also has boring, sad, or embarrassing moments that they do not put online. So it's very important to help our children minimize the social comparison with their friends they see online. Teach them about oversharing, right? You can always, it's very important sometimes to brainstorm uh, solutions for oversharing with your child, right? You can talk about taking down what was shared or fixing privacy settings. All social media platforms these days have privacy shared settings where you can say either only friends can see this, right? Only you can create a specific group of people can see this. So these are important things to share with our children. So it's always important to help keep things in perspective. Some embarrassing moments are serious, but others are just learning moments. So uh, you share your experiences with your child. Some are embarrassing, but it's important for them to learn, right? The other thing you can do is establish your family values online around harassment and bullying, right? Be clear about how you expect them to act online. Like explaining, it's very important to explain to our children that they should treat people online the same way they treat people offline in the physical world when they're in school. Yeah, treat them well, treat them nicely, be good, be saying good words, being positive. It's also very important to explain online because the issue of harassment and bullying is becoming rampant online. It's very important to share these, to express to your children that the family values that we have at home is also very important for them to share online. So it's also important to talk about the need to look at the meaning behind someone's words and always encourage positivity. Um, Tone of voice, you can talk about the tone of voice and remind your children it's easy for someone to misinterpret someone's meaning online because it's mostly most of it is in text. It's very easy for someone to misinterpret what has been written. Encourage them to assume good intent and talk to friends directly if they're unclear about something. If something was posted online and the child is not very clear about, it's very important for you to encourage them to go and meet them physically and ask, what do you mean? What did this mean? Right? So that they can talk it out um, well, so they can get the meaning. It's very easy to lose meaning online. Talk about how good it feels to send and receive positive messages online. Consider using one of your own apps together to send a positive comment or a message. A better internet, right? One that is free of bullying, divisions, hate, and crime isn't just aspiration. It's very possible. This is possible through our own family values, and it starts with the individual digital user. You as a parent, being positive online. Um, it starts with you, with me, and the next generation. That is our kids that are using the internet. It's very important. Family values. Right? So, what kind of data do we let our children share online? Right? If are there any restrictions that you've put in place, you have set out around the use of specific apps, maybe you can share in the comments. The digital age has made it very easy for people to share information online, and we're able to connect with friends and families through our mobile and social media platforms. Can you think of any negative consequences to the freedom of expression sharing online? Also, that is also extended to children. Are there negative consequences to the freedom of expression? Okay, so there's a question that says the platform my kids use is Lani, which uses Google Chrome. Although we blocked YouTube, how can we block content on Chrome? Mm, it's a very good question. So, Farhin, if I may ask, is Learning an app? What is Learning? Is it the music app? So while we wait for her, maybe you can continue. So maybe she can explain what is Learning. Is it the music app that I know? Ah, okay. Learn Anywhere online platform. Are your kids using it on oh, okay, similar to Google Classroom? Okay. So restricting for what I've explained, you can restrict um, access to the entire app. So for you to be able to, so for the example, the family link I shared is you can restrict access to Chrome at a specific time. Yes, I understand. Yeah, I'm getting that concern. That you're trying to get them, just concerned about them getting on the other sites online and downloading or viewing stuff not appropriate to them. Yes, that's a very uh, good concern. So the number of tools that you can be able to restrict web, the browser access, which can be a challenge. But let me share the tools that you can use to restrict access in the browser before the end of this session. I hope that's okay. So you've talked about establishing family values. So be clear of how you expect them to act online. Talk about online harassment. Talk about the power of positive messages. So the number of ways that we can discover good family content. This section explains I will estimate where possibility tools that can be used to filter and control what can be seen online. Um, so what kind of like the concern that has been raised, what kind of content are kids, the number of content that we don't want our kids to be exposed online, and that's what we're going to look at. Many of these we come across will depend on depends on the child's age and maturity. You need to get a sense of so it's important to know what's the age of a child, the level of maturity, and for what content they can see or they can access online. So we have talked about family link, um, the comprehensive features that allow you to find, manage family content, family friend content. You can set content restrictions in Google Play through the family link. So you can set restrictions on what they can access Google Play. You can blacklist or whitelist specific websites. Um, that's what Fahim was talking about, was raised the concern. So with Family Link, you'll be able to blacklist or whitelist specific websites. So you can set filters for your for the web browsing. You can turn safety search on or off with Family Link. So through the app, you'll be able to restrict, blacklist specific websites that your children and apps that your children cannot be able to access. So Farhin, please look at Family Link. It's available on the Play Store. So with Chrome, there are features that let you create different account profiles for supervised users and managers. Which gives you complete control of how your children use the internet. Safari, the browser, has built-in restriction settings. You can activate to block adult content. Firefox and the Internet Explorer also have varying parental control that you can activate. So with Google Search, you can block explicit sites with Safe Search directly in your browser. Safe Search helps you to filter explicit content out of search results. When Safe Search is on, it helps block if you don't want a child to see explicit images, videos, or websites from the Google search results. So you can easily turn on Safe Search by going to search settings, then under search filters, check or uncheck the box next to turn on Safe Search. At the bottom of the page, you can select save. So this will save the changes that you've made. So maybe I can share my screen so that you can see this live on Google search. So let me stop sharing so that I can share a tab. Yeah. So here, what I did is I searched for google.com. So here on the Google's main page, you can go down there at the bottom, the bottom right. There's settings. You can click on settings, right? So the number of settings. Then up here there's safe search filters. Let me try zoom so it's more visible. So this safe search filters turn on safe search to help hide explicit content. If you can't turn it off, check with the administrator. You can, as administrator, you can turn that off. There are some spoken words you can turn off. You can look at activities. You can set up regional settings. Then you can easily save. Okay. So on YouTube also, YouTube has a restricted mode. YouTube's community, YouTube always has community guidelines, like most internet platforms. They always have community guidelines, um, which includes guides on nudity or sexual content, hateful content, harmful or dangerous content, and violent or graphic content. While YouTube works very hard to ensure that these videos meet community guidelines, there's high volume of content uploaded on YouTube. So it can be very hard for YouTube itself to monitor this. So that's why YouTube created tools like the restrict the mode on YouTube that you can be able to restrict your kids from accessing specific content. Also, always note that YouTube requires account holders to be 18. Um, but for example, a child can sign up for YouTube using with the parents' permission. As we've seen with the Family Link app, you'll be able to restrict usage access to YouTube. So then there's also YouTube for kids. There's YouTube tailored specifically for kids, for children. Um, so this is that has content that is approved, parent approved content. You can set time limits, block or flag mature content. Review. You can review watch history. You can review what the child has gone through. So you can access this youtube.com/kids. You can easily set up that for children. Also, for those with smart TVs that come with YouTube. Most smart TVs I've seen have YouTube for kids. So the other apps, for example, this app called Read Along, um, is an Android app developed to aid kids in grades 1 to 5 to learn to read confidently anytime, anywhere using their own voices. So it's a speech based reading app that encourages children to read aloud just the way they do naturally, making it very engaging for them to learn to read. Um, Read Along uses Google's existing speech recognition technology and text-to-speech technology that powers the non-Google assistants to serve as a personalized reading tutor for kids, and works even when completely offline. So the helpful in-app artificial intelligence-powered reading buddy Dia also encourages them to, by providing positive reinforcement when they read correctly, and helps out by giving suggestions when they don't. So there's a very friendly artificial intelligence agent called Buddy, called Dia, that can help the child with reinforcement to be able to learn um, how to read. So the benefits of Read Aloud include independent reading with friendly assistance, global collection of stories, playful learning. Kids can get better every day, personalized profiles. One can learn without Wi-Fi, no need for always having internet access, and it's so private and secure. So how does it actually work? Dia is an expressive animated reading assistant. It can read the entire screen, highlighting each word as it reads them, so that the child can follow along. So a child reads as children read out loud. Dia detects if a child is struggling with a passage of text and is able to provide positive reinforcement or help to the child. So the children can ask Dia at any time to help them read a sentence or pronounce a word um, they don't know or understand very well. So users can tap on any word on the screen, and Dia will be able to say it out loud, so that can help with pronunciation of words. The app tracks the progress of on the sentence and proactively offers support if it detects that the user is struggling. So while you're reading, it can detect that the child is struggling and be able to provide support. So the app tracks the progress on the sentence and proactively offers support if it detects the user struggling. Read Along offers 100 stories per language with recommendations, that can be downloaded and read offline. The users can collect rewards and awards um, to drive learning. So there's some awards and rewards. So this is learning to read the voice with your own voice. So I'll share the link to the app in the comments. So how do we protect our child from negative content online? So start a conversation, uh, talk to your talk to your child about what they might find on the internet, right? So always very important to also remind them that to think before they click. Help your child understand that clicking on pop-ups or links in unsolicited emails that offer things that are too good to be true may end up in them accessing content that isn't intended for them to see. Supervise if you can, maybe a deal for younger children. Always, if you can find time, it's always good to supervise what your child is doing online. So you have talked about starting a conversation. I think at asking them to reminding them to think before they click and supervising what they do. So, do we have any questions? So, since there are no questions, as they come, I'll pause and respond. So, looking at we're going to look at how to protect your family's security online. So, what's the most popular social media platforms for kids? Maybe we can get responses. Earlier someone mentioned TikTok. Maybe we can get more responses. What's the most popular social media platform for kids? Snapchat, Instagram. So far we have TikTok, Snapchat, and Instagram. So it's very important for us to stay vigilant online, even as parents. We need to understand that our online profiles also share a lot of personal information about us, such as age, the school, location, activities, activities that we like. Unfortunately, this type of information also helps scammers and groomers to manipulate our children. So with children removing privacy settings, that leaves a lot of information open on the web for anyone to be able to have access to. So we look at, we all know, we all care about our family's security online. Uh, what affects your child also affects the entire family. The kind of dangers um, in both your family and your own security exist when participating on online activities. So we're going to cover three topics: stranger danger, identity theft, cyberbullying. So stranger danger. This is where online grooming, also known as online grooming, as grooming is a word used to describe people befriending our children in order to take advantage of them for sexual purposes. So it's easy to pretend to be someone else on the internet. So children can sometimes end up having conversations with people whose real identity they do not know. As raised earlier, parents talking to children talking to strangers online is a very big issue for most of us. So online grooming may be hard for parents to recognize because it can be when children are at, it can happen when children are at home. Also, groomers may specifically want children not to talk to anyone about it, right? So an online groomer might tell the child, "Do not talk about what we are talking, our discussions to anyone." Online groomers are not always strangers. In many situations, they may already have met your child, or you have met them through family or social activities, and use the internet to build a rapport with them. Sometimes children don't realize they're being groomed and think the person is their boyfriend or their girlfriend. So there's that deception online. So you may want to investigate further if you see your child exhibiting any of these signs. For example, your child is becoming secretive about who they're talking to online, right? Or using sexual language you wouldn't expect them to know. All right, switching screens when you come near the computer, or when you're on the phone. When you come close to them, they change their screens, right? They change to a different kind of apps. So grooming can be a tricky subject to talk about. So a good way in uh, is to say you've read a story about this happening and asking your child if they know any of their friends have experienced anything similar, right? You can talk about, it's important to talk about the risks, right? Make sure it's important to talk about the risk. Talk about the risks. Make sure your child knows that everyone online is not who they say. Not everyone online is who they say they are, right? Encourage them to come and talk to you if they are not sure about the identity of someone else online, right? Agree on the rules, right? As a family, discuss your stand on sharing information with strangers online, right? Agree on keeping secrets from parents and boundaries to individuals' privacy. Agree sharing pictures of their bodies. Agree on how do we share that sharing about. Agree on agree on matters such as sharing the pictures of their bodies, houses, or friends, meetings with friends they have met online in offline space. Agree on these matters. Always stay engaged. From time to time, review their social media together. Sit with the child, review their social media together. You or a family member might want to be to be their friend online, right? To ensure they're making sensible choices. You can send them a request, a friend request. That should be here. If you do friend them, watch and observe rather than take part of it. So it's important to note, just like adults, children may be at risk of having their online identity stolen and misused, right? It can be difficult to maintain a child's privacy as they may not understand what information is safe to share online. Most kids do not understand what information is safe to share online or what default privacy settings are available on the different sites, right? So if a child's identity is stolen, it may not be noticed for many years and could in some cases lead to the child being the victim of blackmail, grooming, right, or bullying. It may take some time, but these things can happen. So what to look out? You may start to suspect your child's identity has been stolen if they get a bill, right? If you get a bill for something you have not ordered, right? Start to get emails from organizations they do not recognize, receive any letters regarding government benefits or tax payment. So these are signs that your child identity might have been stolen. So how do you protect your child? So check the online privacy settings on the different apps, right? Check their device settings, find out what is already out there, take action and go incognito, right? Always take action as a parent. So enable privacy. All social media platforms have privacy settings that you as a parent can go through. So they're also YouTube is a little different to the others, right? In that you can change the privacy settings on the videos themselves, right? So you can so for example, in this case, you can open the YouTube app. You click on the profile icon, access the account menu, then choose. You can choose your channel, right? And then under the options, when you click on the options, you tap on the options button. There's a privacy setting. You can choose between putting a video, public, and listed, right? So, for example, this video you're watching from YouTube is unlisted, meaning that only people with this link can be able to access this video. So, those are kinds of privacy settings you can look at. So, talk to your children about passwords, using strong passwords, right? Even if, for example, we're very careful on security settings, anyone is able to hack and get access into our children's accounts if they're not using strong passwords, right? Not all passwords are created equal, and many passwords are easily guessed by hackers. And especially in a case where it's our children's work, children who are creating these passwords, it's very easy for them to create passwords that can be easily guessed, and someone can easily get access to their accounts. So make your passwords unique. Help them make their passwords long and more memorable. Mix letters, numbers, and symbols. Avoid personal information like the name of the child. Avoid the name of the dog, like the name of the parent. Always avoid such things. Cyberbullying is another huge problem. Right? For 7% of children interviewed experience some form of bullying on digital platforms. So what do you think cyberbullying is, and how is it different from other forms of bullying? Maybe we can get some responses in the comments. What do you know about cyberbullying? Bullying has changed from the physical to the digital world. Bullying used to be um, kids getting into problems with their fellow students in school, in the playground. Some now most of this has gone online. It differs from traditional bullying that it does not take place at schools or in the streets. Right now, anyone with a phone can bully another child. It's a new form of bullying that many parents are not familiar with. One of the biggest difference between the cyberbullying and face-to-face bullying is that it can be very hard to get away from. Right? Young people could be bullied anywhere, anytime, even when they're in their own houses. Right? They can experience bullying. So there's harassment, there's outing, um, there's trolling, bans, roasting, griefing. Right? Harassment is targeting an individual or a group, right? Or a group with persistent and offensive messages which could develop into cyberbullying. Outing is a case where you public sharing personal or private information so that you can embarrass someone in forms of information, post or videos about someone online. Trolling is deliberately posting provocative and insulting messages about sensitive objects, sensitive subjects, or inflicting racism or mischief on an individual, right? Bands are not uh, really serious about kids could be cruel but get away with it by saying it was just a band or it was just for fun. There's roasting, there's gang up on an individual online and sending offensive, abusive abuse until the victim is seen to crack, right? Griefing, abusing and angering people through online gaming. It's very common with online games. So there's always the risk, huge risk with huge rise of there's a huge rise in cyberbullying. Um, you can suspect that your child has been bullied if they stop using the electronic devices, they seem nervous and jumpy when using the devices, or become abusive about being constantly online, reluctant to go to school, take part in any um, social activity. So those could be signs that our children are going through bullying. So if you become aware that your child is being bullied on cyber bullied, right? There are a number of things you can do, right? There are do's and don'ts, right? You can always find out why, try and establish the facts around the incident and keep an open mind as a parent, right? Talk through it, talk about the, uh, the, the bloodline between uploading and sharing content, because it's funny or it might get a lot of likes versus the potential to cause offense or hurt, right? Teach by example, right? Model and encourage positive behavior in your child and praise them as they take this on board. When they start practicing um, positivity on behavior online, encourage them, right? Learn from it, right? Above all, help your child learn from what has happened. Think about what you would do differently as a parent or as a family, and share your learnings with other parents and caregivers. the things we as a parent shouldn't do. For example, we shouldn't get upset, stay calm when discussing it with the child, and try to talk with our children, other adults about cyberbullying, right? So it can help each other. Do not ignore it. Um, Take the situation seriously and don't blame someone else. Don't condone it. If a child was cyberbullying in retaliation, you should tell them that two wrongs cannot make a right, and encourage them. That is just encourage and do not encourage the cyberbullying behavior. Don't take don't take away their devices. This could make the situation worse, and encourage them to find other ways to go online. So there's some tips. Um, you can go to safety.google. They are very good tips on how to stay online. So I'll put this in the chat. So that there are tips that you can look at to help us. Be internet awesome, right? Always stay smart, share with care. Don't fall for the fake. Always be alert. Use secure your secrets using strong passwords. Right? Always be kind. It's cool to be kind. When in doubt, talk it out. When you doubt about something online, talk it out. Right? Be internet awesome. Like help kids to practice skills they need to be confident online. Um, Work with other parents. Talk about digital well-being family guide, right? So there's a guide for families at wellbeing.google. So I'll put this there. You can always engage with the child. Here are some tips. You can use talk early and talk often. Choose the right time. Open up and share to create a safe space in the house. Use the Google digital wellbeing guide I've sent in the chat in the comments. Um, YouTube Kids, the family link app I've talked about. There's a quiz you can take for that you and the child understand about phishing. Um, right. So that brings us to the end of the session. So I would love to know your key takeaways from this. What have you taken away from this session before we end? Will always be interesting to know about that in the chat. So what are the key takeaways? What have you taken away from this session? I've seen feedback how best we can monitor our kids' safety online searches. Thank you. Awesome. So I think we can call it the end. Awesome. Thanks, Nicey. You learned how Family Link can help you manage your child's use on the internet. That's awesome. Thanks, Nancy. Awesome. So I'll be sending a link to a feedback form that you can give us feedback. I will really appreciate so that we can get better at this, right? So, so I'm sharing the link. Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining. Have a good weekend. Stay safe, online, offline. Wear a mask, sanitize. Thank you very much. Goodbye.